Hey YouTube, it is league turnover today, so we're going to go over rankings very quickly because not much has changed. Actually, pretty much nothing has changed. And then we're going to go over some teams that I've had success with over the past, I mean, it hasn't been on for a couple weeks, but teams that I've had success with earlier on the season, the last time the Great League was around. So rankings, it's interesting. I'm fascinated that Registeel is back at number one. Like I said, I'm not going to talk about the rankings too much because they are overall safe. I have only had difficulties using Registeel ever since it got the Zap Cannon nerf. It felt like when Zap Cannon was hitting 100% of the time that it was just so overpowered because you could just like lowering your opponent's attack does so much like damage overall in a matchup. Like not physical damage, but just like your opponent's inability to throw harder hitting moves at you, right? And then it got nerfed to 67%, and all of a sudden, this thing dropped in the rankings. Almost no one was using it, right? Because you have like more fighters like Annihilate. You have Gligar's a flyer that has Dig now and just kind of walls every move. So you have all the Mud Boys, right? You have Quagsire at number 8, and you have Swampert at 9, and you gotta have I'm guessing where's Whiscash at 20, right? So it just, and Clodsire right below it. So there's so many Pokemon that beat Registeel. I really don't like it at the number one ranking. I think it still has play. I put it in the top 20, but I would not put it anywhere near number one in my opinion. But then when we go down the list, we got like Carbon kind of the same as Registeel. Like once you got like Steel Wing Skarmory doing double super effective with the Steel Wings and yes, you can hit super effective with the Moonblast on the fighters, but like the rock throws resisted on the fighter. So I don't like Carpink as much either. I think they get by just like in the overall sims. But the other Pokemon here, Annihilate, Cresselia, Gligar, Lickitung, Feraligatr, Quagsire, Swampert, Skarmory, Lancer, and Mandibuzz. Yep. Down the board here. Right through Quagsire, yeah. Medi, Stunfisk. I think Empoleon's a little overranked at 24. But otherwise, your top 25 is looking very much like the top 25 that you were going to see on some teams. And again, I will go over my teams. It's a lot of the Pokemon in top 25 with other Pokemon that I think are underranked. So if you go to my new series, I created a new series called Beyond the Meta or Behind the Meta. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm looking at I'm looking at the history of GBL and what makes a Pokemon meta. So I've done Skarmory, Azumarill, Hypno, and Sableye. So I kind of go over like how they fared in the early GBL and why they were so strong or not strong, and then why they went away and why they've either like Hypno will never come back or stuff like Azumarill has come back and Sableye is always just amazing. So you'll see like Sableye on a few of my teams because I find despite it being like Sableye's like ranked like 66 on PvPoke or something. Yeah, 66. I think that's like really underrated for Sableye based on its how you actually play with it, right? The sims on PvPoke, when you look at the rankings, is a one shield even scenario. You will never do that with Sableye. And just to give you like, before we go into the teams here, you run the Great League. Here. We can maximize stat products here. So maximize this, maximize IVs here. And you're like, oh yeah, in the even shield, even scenario, 15, 22, and 4. That's a terrible record. But you're not using Sableye in the even shield, even energy scenario. You're using it with an energy advantage. And you go to here, you add one Shadow Claw. I did this in my other video. You add one Shadow Claw. Suddenly that 15 and 22 becomes 23 and 16. You use Sableye as a safe swap. You pick up 8 wins getting one Shadow Claw as a safe swap. And if you get 2 before they figure it out, like what's going on, your 23 jumps to 24. I think that maybe I don't expect you to get 3, but I think 3 jumps like 30 or something. 3 jumps to 30. Again, you're unlikely to get 3 claws before they switch, but like I said, Sableye as a safe swap with a little bit of energy can easily flip a lot of matchups, which makes it way more deadly than its ranking suggests. So again, PvPoke rankings should be taken with a grain of salt. They're a nice guide, but you need to be able to understand like what makes a Pokemon strong and what makes it weak and stuff like that. So what makes Pokemon strong? Bulk is one, and then your moveset and everything else, right? So bulk, Quagsire, Azumarill, Lickitung, and Altaria. So basically, I think I started with the team with Altaria because I saw a bunch of Altaria. Altaria is one of those that kind of got a little bit of a sneaky, not buff. And what I say by that is like some of the stuff that will just directly beat it have gone away. So for example, Carbink was everywhere last season, but now you have Steel Wing Skarmy everywhere. Steel Wing Skarmy does double super effective with the Steel Wings against Carbink. So you're not seeing Carbinks. So if you're not seeing a rock fairy that will just resist pretty much everything except for the Moonblast on Altaria, you pick up a bit there. You're seeing a lot more Mud Boys. You're seeing so many Quagsires. You're seeing so many Whiscash. You're seeing so many fighters. So Altaria kind of rose up there. If you're going to use Altaria, you need an answer to Steels. So that is why I started with Quagsire. And then I used Lickitung as a safe swap. So Quagsire, Lickitung safe swap, and Altaria is what I used. There was a reason that I put in a Azumarill. I can't remember off the top of my head why I used a Azumarill, but I did switch halfway through. But I think Quagsire or Azumarill work very well in that spot. Second is Walrein, Gligar, Sableye. So there's two things with this team. The first is Walrein, I think, is very, very underrated. So Icicle Spear got nerfed. How many seasons ago was that now? 3-4 seasons ago, Icicle Spear got nerfed, and it kind of just went away. But again, with all the Mud Boys, and a few other just Pokemon, you are pretty good with Walrein. Like the uptick of like flyers, like Gligar and Altaria, right? You are kind of sneaky strong. You are weak to fighting, and you're weak to electric. Like Lantern is going to cause you problems. So that is why I use Gligar and Sableye. So Gligar and Sableye, what I really, really like about this team is Gligar and Sableye are both, in my opinion, they're not two of the best 5 safe swaps in this meta. I would do like those two. I would do Lickitung. I would probably do like either Annihilate or Poliwrath, and for Alligator's probably up there now. Like those are the top 5 safe swaps in my opinion for the Great League. So to have 2 safe swaps on one team provides you the flexibility to pivot either or depending on what you're seeing on the lead. If you need to get out from a fighter, you can decide whether you want to go right into the flyer or you can go into the ghost. Right? Great options. Both safe. Both can flip switch. Both can grab shields. So I really, really like this sort of like team where you have like one kind of sneaky Pokemon that you can use to take out a lot of the meta, and then 2 just very, very safe options in the back to kind of just cover all your bases. Dragonair, Togedemaru for Alligator. This one, what can I say about this one? Don't use it if... I had success with this. For Alligator is, like I said, just in the last one of the top 5 safe swaps in this meta right now. Shadow Dragonair. Dragons are, I think, having a lot more freedom this time around because there's less steals. Like I said, I talked about all the problems with Registeel because of all the fighters in the grounds. There are so many resistances by dragons, and a lot of them are the main meta. You resist water. You resist grass. You resist electric, like Lantern. So there's a lot of things that you resist. A lot of the counters, like Fairy and Ice, there's not a ton of those running around right now, and not a lot of steals that would resist Dragon Breath. So having Shadow Dragonair is just pretty safe on the lead. Togedemaru is kind of I'm pretty sure I called this, I'm the best Togedemaru player in the world. To which Nighttime Clasher goes, "Are you sure?" Just remember, man, you learn from me. It's funny. So the those you don't know, it's a total side topic. Nighttime Clasher, who is absolutely killing it at all these Show 6, Pick 3 tournaments. Like one of the best out there, easily qualified for World, has won tournaments before. He learned the basics from my channel when he first started out. Now this is when the student becomes the teacher very quickly. He just like learned the basics from my channel and then just like, oh yeah, I'm like a million times better than you. So he grew up really fast. Anyways, he jokes saying like he's the best player in the world to use it. So we have a kind of funny argument about that. Team Bulk again. Defense Deoxys, Mandibuzz, Clodsire. Mandibuzz, I think, is probably one of the top. I was gonna say top 10, but I would maybe go as high as top 5 in this meta right now. For the same reason that I just kind of called out Dragonair. Less ice, less fairies in this meta. Great bulk. Great answer to the Mud Boys because Mudshot and everything is resisted, so they have to just throw like the Scalds and stuff. Super bulky. The Dark Pulse makes a world of difference on Mandibuzz. Every time I play with Mandibuzz, I always say this. In the past, you ran Foul Play, and Foul Play Mandibuzz was kind of pathetic, right? Aerial Ace was a bad move, and Foul Play was also a bad move. But that Dark Pulse for that little extra energy hits so much more in these matchups, and it just makes it so much better overall. So I really, really like Mandibuzz in the Great League. Defense Deoxys I have not seen a lot of. It still has the play. Like, again, if you use Defense Deoxys in the past, it's the same thing. Counter and Psycho Boost on the lead. Bulky, Thunderbolts for some coverage there. Great Pokemon. And then Clodsire. I think Clodsire has also, for me, I already talked about the top 5 safe swaps. I put Clodsire as like a number 8 to 10 safe swap. I think Clodsire is very, very strong. You have coverage if you run Earthquake and Stone Edge. It is very, very, very bulky. And just those two alone can cover a lot. Just like Mudshot's one of the best fast moves in the game. Earthquake with Stab, same type attack bonus is great. And Stone Edge is such a hard-hitting move for a coverage move too. So really, really, really strong Pokemon. Pelipper, Poliwrath, Bastiodon. So this is one of those kind of balanced teams, right? Bastiodon's going to be weak to ground. Pelipper's a flyer, which will resist the ground and kill all the Mud Boys, which Bastiodon's going to have real trouble with. And then Poliwrath is your safe swap. So it's a very, very balanced team. Bastiodon's weak to fighting, and Pelipper, again, can handle that. Pelipper is weak to... So this team is double weak to electric, right? Pelipper and Poliwrath are going to be beaten by Lantern. And then Pelipper very hard can be beaten by that. So if you want to... not have a, I think I even said this in the video when I posted the video. If you want to not have a double weakness to electric, put in something like Gligar instead. The only problem with that is it would make you double weak to water. I guess you can go, it's interesting because every flyer is going to have its weaknesses, right? You can go, a normal flyer is just going to be weak to electric with Poliwrath. Oh, that's what I said. I said, don't switch up the fighter. I said, don't switch up the flyer. I said, switch up Poliwrath and put in Annihilape. The reason, yeah, I remember, because the reason that I didn't do that is because I'm sure I have Annihilape coming up here, because I had Annihilape immediately in a previous video, and I'm like, I don't want to use Annihilape twice. I'm going to use Poliwrath instead. But no, if you're going to use this team, use Annihilape to take away that double electric weakness. The immediate, because I used it immediately before, and that's why I didn't want to use it again. Annihilape, Drapion, and then Sandslash is better. So I started with Wiggly, but no, use Sandslash if you're going to use this team. Because then you have like Drapion and Wiggly are just going to have problems with steals. The ones I want to highlight here are Drapion was kind of interesting as a safe swap. Like Drapion was an old school, one of the best safe swap, not one of the best safe swaps, but for a while there, a safe swap that every single person used, and it was very, very strong. So I think that it's kind of gone down a bit as a safe swap. I still had success with it, but it's definitely not one of my top 10 safe swaps anymore. Annihilape is very, very strong. It's got like sneaky bulk for a fighter, which are usually a little more glassy, except like Medi, but and then great like second. So Counter's one of the best fast moves in the game. Shadow Ball's like one of the best charge moves in the game. So to have that combo with like unique typing and nice bulk is it's a really good Pokemon to use. And then Sandslash is one of those that has also kind of disappeared. Not surprisingly that it disappeared, because you have more fighters and you have more grounds running around. So both are going to cause big problems to Sandslash. I still think Sandslash has a lot of play, right? You still have a lot of flyers running around, even more so with the dragons and stuff now too. So I think Sandslash should have a lot of play, but yeah, double weak to fighting and double weak to fire is a bad combo if you want to try and run something. When I put together this team, Gallade, Carbink, and Lickitung, the thought process behind it was Gallade lead, double shield, close combat, leaf blade. Just use your spamminess and use your hard hitting but shield, and then have 2 of the tankiest Pokemon I have in my storage in the back line to just take all that. So it's basically like Gallades, use 2 shields on Glade, and use 3 and 4 if you consider Carbink and Lickitung as shields as well. So that's essentially how I use this. I use that Gallade on the lead. If you lose switch, Lickitung is your safe swap. Carbink in the back. Again, Carbink's going to be weak to ground and water, and Gallade will deal with that with the Leaf Blade. So pretty solid team overall. Very hard hitting Gallade. Lickitung is always like one of the, so good in the safe swap. Carbink, again, I think Carbink's gone down a bit, but it still has that bulk to carry you. Double flyer. So I've done in the past a few double flyer teams. And I always have success with them because as long as one of those flyers is Gligar that can cover your steals, a lot of teams do not factor in a double flying opponent. Because like, why would you use double flyers? Isn't that going to be tough against like steals and stuff? And electric? Not when one of those is Gligars and resists the electric and can hit super effective with dig on the steals. So I really like the double flyer strategy. So Gligar and Skarmory, I use Skarmory because, you know, Steel Wing buff. It's probably, I tried at the beginning of the season. It is an improvement with Steel Wing. And then for Alligator is a safe swap because for Alligator is one of the best safe swaps in the meta. Again, you are double weak to electric. With for Alligator, if you don't want to use for Alligator, you can use any other safe swap that I mentioned. You can use Sableye. You can use Lickitung. Like, you can use any other safe swap in this place if you don't want that double electric weakness. And then this one is Whiscash, Lickitung, Galvantula, and I wanted to highlight in this one Galvantula because with a lot more Skarmories and Flyers and a lot more Poliwrath and a lot more fighters, you resist the fighters, it just seemed like it has a lot of coverage. Anytime you use this, you're going to be weak to sort of like ground type Pokemon are going to resist the Volt Switch and Discharge. You can still hit, if it's just like a Mudboy, you can still hit neutral with Lunge. So it's not the worst thing in the world. It gets tough when you go against like a ground Steel or something like that. Then all the moves are resisted, which causes some problems. So Lickitung Whiscash can deal with that. I use Gligar as well, just as an option. So those are the teams that I have used in the past with success. I'll have a team coming out tomorrow with Sableye as a safe swap that I filmed earlier I haven't filmed it yet, but it battles from earlier in the season. I'll probably film that I guess Friday to go up to Saturday. So that'll be for sure Saturday. And then Sunday, yeah, I'm probably going to play majority Great League this week, and we'll pump out Great League teams, and then we'll continue doing these behind the meta looks at Pokemon and their place in the meta. So subscribe for more for that. Thumbs up for helping the video and comments, please. And I'll see you guys in the next one.